All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Andreas Stathatos, and today we'll be discussing the physiological mechanisms behind rabies. This will include discussions regarding how the infection spreads, what the symptoms are and the underlying causes of said symptoms, what animals are the most common carriers, and the available treatments, including preventative measures. I will start off, however, by just quickly showing a picture of me holding my ASU ID. All right, now that that is out of the way, I wanted to begin my discussion by explaining how a disease that begins with an infection of muscular tissue can impact your nervous system. According to Fisher, Stryker, and Schnell's article, The Spread and Evolution of Rabies, after the initial bite, the bullet-shaped virus travels towards what's known as neuromuscular junctions. A neuromuscular junction is essentially a place in your body where your nerves and muscles connect to communicate and create movement. Once the virus has entered a neuromuscular junction, it will begin to move towards your central nervous system via retrograde axonal transport. Retrograde refers to the movement of the information to the central nervous system, and axonal transport is how the virus, quote unquote, walks up the nerves to reach your central nervous system. At the end stage of the infection, the movement of the virus changes to anterograde, which means that it is transmitted from the central nervous system to the rest of your body. The image on this slide is also from Fisher, Stryker, and Schnell's article, and it is a quick overview of how the rabies virus is replicated. Upon entry of a cell, the virus releases a genome that is then transcribed by the cell. Upon transcription, the genome is encapsulated into a protein via translation and is then released out of the cell for further infection. So the telltale symptoms of a rabies infection are listed on the image to the left-hand side of the slide from the Global Alliance of Rabies Control. The initial symptoms include headache, fatigue, fever, and tingling sensations at the site of the bite. Once the disease has progressed, the symptoms become more severe and include hallucinations, excessive salivation, hydrophobia, aggression, insomnia, and, at the end of the infection cycle, coma and death. However, it is important to understand how the virus itself creates these symptoms. The virus, once it has entered the central nervous system and has begun spreading across the neurons, has been shown to interfere with gene expression. In particular, the rabies virus downregulates normal gene expression activity within the brain. In fact, in a study done by Prosniak, Dietschhold, and Koprowski, scientists found that infected mice brains showed a steep decline in gene expression for 90% of the genes expressed by the brain in normal conditions. The genes included in this study ranged in purpose from cell metabolism and protein synthesis to genes that regulated ion homeostasis, and in particular, the well-known sodium-potassium ATPase pump. All these factors could lead to neuronal dysfunction and death, which leads to the symptoms listed in the image. Unfortunately, there are very limited treatment options. In the case of rabies, the rabies vaccine is the only cure that is known to assist with treatment. The vaccine can be administered pre-exposure to a bite at the patient's convenience, but once the patient has been exposed to a bite from an animal that is suspected to have rabies, the vaccine must be administered as soon as possible. In addition to vaccination post-exposure, patients are also given what is known as human rabies immune globulin, or HRIG. According to Muhammad Yusuf's article, Rabies Molecular Virology, the vaccine can assist the patient's body in creating an immune response to the infection prior to reaching the later stages of infection, while HRIG contains antibodies from a blood donor that was given the rabies vaccine so that it is immediately able to attack the virus. So which animals should you avoid all contact with? Well, the image on this slide is from the CDC, and it displays the number of rabid animals found each year in the United States of America. If you are on a hike or in a public space, please do not approach raccoons, skunks, foxes, or bats. Additionally, dogs are the most common cause of rabies-related deaths globally, so take extreme precaution when approaching dogs. Unfortunately, there are not very many preventative measures for rabies. The recommended actions from the CDC are vaccinating yourself and your pets, avoiding the wildlife mentioned in the slide before this one, and knowing the common carriers of rabies and seeking medical care and consultation upon being bitten by a common carrier. Finally, once you have been bitten by an animal, it is important to seek medical consultation. According to the CDC, if the animal is showing clear symptoms of rabies, you should immediately seek a dosage of the rabies vaccine and HRIG. For domestic animals that you are unsure of their rabies vaccination status, or if you cannot observe their behavior for 10 days, please seek medical consultation. If you are bitten by an animal like a raccoon, skunk, fox, or bat, you should immediately receive the rabies vaccination. Rabies is a fatal infection. It is important to know the warning signs and what to do next. Thank you for listening.